Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening. So we'll be starting the next unit today, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Chinmay, are you there? Can you hear?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Good
Okay.
evening, ma'am.
Good evening. So today we'll be starting the next part of our Indian writing in English. Okay. So yes, today we got another student, Dev Gagan. Dev Gagan. Good evening. He left. Okay. So yes, we'll start with this is I think the fifth unit, fifth block, right? Today we'll be doing the fifth block. Am I right?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay, fine. So So yesterday we saw a lot of issues regarding English in India, and we saw that India is a multicultural country, multilingual country. So what will be the place of English in India that we saw yesterday? And then we saw that when English got into the nooks and corners of India, how it developed, how it formed, isn't it? And how it changed shapes and how we Indians wrote back. Okay, wrote back, or how we Indians, asserted our English. So finally, it was initially it was decide. People were not able to decide. Policymakers were not able to decide as to what should be the position of English in India. So many debates were going on. So finally, we came to the conclusion, mainly by all these commissions and education policies, and finally there was a Kuthari commission there also. It was decided that English will be there, but English will be used as Indian. Okay, means we will give an Indian form to English. We will have our own vocabularies, we'll have our own linguistic appeals, we will have our own structures of English we did yesterday, and then we will encourage all these different types of English. Then what happened? Then came that no, we should standardize it, because there are many. If there are so many variations, then who will understand what? Okay, so finally, some standard language appeal was spread through policies, and then one particular form came in India. And then you saw that there were types of writers who emerged, and those many were the native writers, and many writers were specifically for the Indian domain, means for the Indian readers. Then there came a new set of writers who were for all over worldwide readers, not only for Indian readers but also for the readers worldwide. So the examples of these writers are Salman Rushdie, we have Shobha De, Amitabh Ghosh also, he is internationally famous, Bharti Mukherjee, Jhumpa Lahiri, so many writers came. Okay, and many of them were particularly diaspora writers, as we were discussing earlier. So these writers particularly, they brought a market. Please remember this. They brought a market to Indian uh, English, to the Indian, to the English literature in India. Okay, the Indian writing in English. They brought a market. Market means they brought a lot of money. Okay, from worldwide. Okay, because Amitabh Ghosh is read here. We fondly read because he's an Indian. He has got many Indian perspectives. People love reading Amitabh Ghosh internationally. If you can see, Italian people are especially lovers of Ghosh's writing when they are reading post-colonial literature. Then you can see people from every place and continent, America, Australia, Canada. People just love Ghosh's writing. Even African people. Okay, under the umbrella of post-colonial literature, African people also like Ghosh's writing. They accept his writing. So worldwide, he's accepted. If it is accepted, means what? that his books are sold out. When books are sold out means it has got good marketability. If it has got good marketability, then it means that his books are paying him off. Okay, you can, in a capitalistic point of view, you can say that he's being paid off very well for such vast sale of his books. Okay, so these were the group of readers whose standards are also very high. Standards of Indian writing in English is very good, is very substantial, is very qualitative, and they are liked fondly by people worldwide. They accept their perspective, their writing, their stories. As a result, capitalistic in a capitalistic point of view, they are also benefited due to the sale of their books. So these all things we discussed about yesterday, and I think three of you were there, yeah, yesterday, and you have understood because we discussed some of the your problems, your doubts as well. So I suppose that you are clear with it now. Today,
Yes, ma'am.
okay. Also, we discuss some of the problems and some of the classes, because when we say English means it is for the elite class, isn't it? And then we discussed yesterday how Babu English varied from what we said Chi English. Okay, so all these things, they made a significant impact. Okay, and the evolution of English in India. This is all we have done until yesterday. Now we'll move little ahead and we will now come to the teaching, because most of us are teachers, and we have to consider the problems of teaching English in India, and particularly English literature. Because in according to my experience, what I'm saying, that sometimes while we teach, we teachers also do not clarify students when they are writing literature. When suppose we are asking them to write critical analysis of something, then we don't teach them what is critical analysis. When we ask them to annotate something, they don't understand what is annotation. What they do, they simply summarize. Suppose I ask them to write a summary, okay, a summary on Kantapura. So summary is okay. In short, they are going to write whatever is there in that book Kantapura. But if I ask them to write critically evaluate, then what do? They don't understand what is critical evaluation. They summarize it. And why do they do like that? Because we don't teach them the difference between summarizing and critical evaluation. In critical evaluation, we have to train them that if something is happening, something major is happening in some book, some novel, some short story, why it is happening, we have to give our perspectives, that maybe this and this must have happened, or maybe Kantapura is talking about the time when Indians were very much subjugated, were very much poor. So these things are happening. So we are not teaching them how to interpret. Means we are not teaching them how to produce the whys and hows of certain incidents in the book. We are not teaching them. They are unaware. So when we are giving them to critically evaluate something, they don't know what is critical evaluation. They just write down the summary. So these are the problems of there are many other problems as well, but these are some of this is one of the problems that I'm telling you, that we teachers face while teaching. Okay, and maybe when our inability to make them understand also creates a lot of problem and communication gap between us and our students. So that has to be reduced. Now, we will see what your material says about some problems in teaching literature. Okay. Now, in the contemporary world, in the present times, why are we reading literature? Can you tell me what is the purpose of reading literature presently? Can anyone answer? Why are we reading literature? Literature, or to make you more precise. Suppose when we are reading a novel, what is the purpose?
To know the know about the society.
Very good. Now, what we did when we were younger means when we were in our teenage or adolescent age. Why did we read books? To know society. At that time, why did we read books? Why did we read
We need
novels?
to gain some. We need to. With that time, we read books to gain some knowledge to know what's going on in our society, what's going on, what is about means like if we read science, sorry, if we read literature, so what's going on in our society and what's the what
Okay.
the know about that
Huh.
time, that if we read some like the writings of some Sri Aurobindo or Bankim Chandra. So that time, in that case, we can read about the uh, fight of the freedom and the
Okay.
struggle
Very
of the
good.
freedom
Yes.
fighters also, and we know the society of that time also, how the people are treated that time, how the Britishers, how they treat our the Indians. So all these things we come to know if we read the literature.
Very good. This is the exact and appropriate answer that you gave. But my question is that when we were younger, say we were 15, 16 years old, 20, 24 years old, then do you think that to know society we were reading novels? Were you reading novels when you were teenager?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So were you reading to know the society, to know the politics of the time, or for some other purpose? Tell me. During your younger days.
Ma'am, in our younger days, we read storybooks. Uh,
Yes, yes, you are
in that
coming to that point.
in that
Yes.
in that time, ma'am, in that time, sometimes we read the storybooks like just in my case, I can say that in my past time, in the time when I am vacant, I have nothing to do in that time. So in that time we read literature to to in that case we did not have some much knowledge about means
Yes,
उस टाइम
yes,
पे उतना तो
right,
नॉलेज नहीं
right.
रहता ना कि ये सोसाइटी में
Exactly.
क्या हो रहा है उस टाइम पे
Exactly. This is
कुछ
what I
नहीं है,
wanted to
कुछ
hear.
आइडल
हाँ,
बैठे हो तो बुक्स पढ़ लो, स्टोरी बुक्स पढ़ लो कि नॉवेल्स पढ़ लो. That time we read like
yes, very honest answer, and this is what I wanted to hear. When we are younger, we read these literature books, as you said, very rightly, you said time pass. है ना? Secondly, sometimes we are too fascinated with the stories. That's what you also pointed out, that in our younger days, we are very much interested in stories. Okay, so time pass में सबसे अच्छा क्या है? Story ही है ना? So during those younger days, we you are absolutely right. You said that we had no idea कि ऐसे सोसाइटी भी स्कैन हो सकते हैं नॉवेल्स में. At that time we did not know. So just to enjoy ourselves, we used to read books, novels, short stories, isn't it? Drama, and I remember we used to read that collection of Shakespearean drama. That was I forget the title of that book. Short stories means the dramas were converted into short stories of Shakespeare, and to make it easy for younger readers. So those books also we used to read Shakespearean stories, dramas, transformed into stories. So at that time, in a younger days, uh, it was very casual, because mainly the first reason is that till then we had not come to study English literature. Okay, so our English reading was casual. Secondly, we were interested in stories to know life, know how the circumstances change in people life. All these made us curious, and we read. But sorry to say, my dear learners, very gradually we are losing that trend of reading books, because of these mobile phones and all those what they call blogs, and all those nuisance that is going on in mobile phones. That trend in our next generation of reading book is losing.
ma'am, nowadays what happens now, we read stories, we read books, but that is in PDF form. we don't the printed form with some, as I can say about me that I used to read still today, but it is in PDF form mainly, but maximum we read in PDF form because everything is available in online, so that's why we read in PDF form mainly.
Yeah, you read in PDF form, that is okay. But what I'm saying is that when we had no other work to do, so we took out a book and we read because it was a kind of pastime for us, or it was a story reading time for us. Okay, now also,
It was like one type of entertainment also.
yes, yes. But now, what is the entertainment for younger people, for the younger generation? Mobile phones and those
Watch YouTube or some videos and all.
exactly. Yes. So what we see, this is another a very recent contemporary problem when we are dealing with the problem in literature and in teaching literature. This is also another problem that that our students means those who have taken English honors also, or those who are in 11, 12, 10th. Okay, they have not yet developed that reading habit, and that is very dangerous. That is one of the eminent problems in the contemporary times. They are not reading books. Okay, their common sense is below a level. For most of them, I can see
And
that.
not only in 10, 11 students, but the younger also means 1, 2, if we go with 1, 2, 3, 4 students, they are also having the same. They are not reading the books and no story books they are reading. They are just playing games and all. Just this type of past time. They are used to it, this type of things.
True, true, true. So overall, we can see that, as you are also pointing out, that overall our new generation is losing the habit of reading. So this is one of the major problems that we are discussing here under the area of problems of teaching literature. So
Yes.
for we teachers, if we are teachers in this group, you might be teachers here in the group, in service teachers. So as English teachers, it should be our duty to encourage them to read books. Let us bring them back to books. Okay. Maybe you're right that PDF also does some justice to our reading habits, but still we should encourage them to take that hard copy books and read, because that trend is getting lost. And mobile phone and PDF reading are easy diversions. Easily we can divert ourselves to some other channel and go to somewhere else. So better, if you are sitting with a book, we are stuck. So as English teachers, it is our responsibility, or if you are parent also at this time, you can encourage your children to make the habit of reading books. And gradually, when I was teaching you, from 1947 till 2004, we see a high rise in writing. So why did the demand rise in writing? Because we read. Okay. If you don't need a book, who will give you book? Nobody will give you book. Okay. Or they will give you a book to just tear it and eat chanachur upon that paper, book paper. That's all. Okay, there was a high rise in the production of Indian English literature because education was, was quite uniform at that time after independence. We were stabilizing at that time. Okay, and also we were very good acceptors of books at that time. And now gradually we see that that trend is slowing down. 2004, okay, the time these mobile phones came, this internet world came, we quickly switched our pastime to some other source of entertainment instead of reading books. So this is one of the major problems here for we English teachers, especially when our children are losing the habit of reading. So if they read more, they are more analytical, they question more. Okay, they can find more differences from one thing to another. Okay, they can find what is Amitabh Ghosh and what is Salman Rushdie. Okay, they can understand what is Alice Walker and what is Bharti Mukherjee. So they can scan if they are good readers. And as teachers, it is very high time for us to make our students redevelop this habit of reading. Otherwise, again we will see a fall, just like you saw in the third phase when I was teaching you, third phase of the inception of English in India, and how this English evolved in India. In third phase, I told you that there was a fall in the trend of writing and reading English. Why? It was a kind of revolt that we won't read your literature, we won't read your English language. So you and me, us and them came. Us means we all Indians, them means all those outsiders, British. Okay, so we will not read yours. That was a protest. But now again we can mark some, to some extent there's a fall again. And this fall again, we as teachers, it is a responsibility to recover it, because we are teachers, and this trend should continue of reading, otherwise they won't enhance their critical aspects, that IQ will remain subservient. Okay, now, uh, yes, I started from this question that what is the difference between reading literature when we were younger, we got the answer, and now all of us, for you and for me as well, now why we are reading a book. Suppose if I take out a book, say for example, as you were pointing out on Sri Aurobindo's. Okay, I've got recently a book on Aurobindo, Sri Aurobindo, written by Manoj Das. Probably it's somewhat like this: Lives and Times of a Mahayogi. Okay, so it was about, it is a kind of biography of Sri Aurobindo written by Manoj Das. Okay, so there when I open that book, am I searching for story of some Sri Aurobindo's life? No, I am trying to look at Sri Aurobindo as a spiritual leader. That is what I am searching. Okay, searching that who is he. Okay, why am I reading this particular book? What significance, importance are there in the book related to the politics of India, related to some religions of India, related to some cultures and societies of India, or to some philosophies of India? I'm trying to find out these things. So in order to explore, in order to gain more knowledge about this Indian system of education and philosophy when Sri Aurobindo existed, I want to know about it. So now I am reading from a very critical perspective. Okay, so if now our culture is like this, now if we have become so much westernized, not only our education but our dressing system, our lifestyle, our eating system, we are eating pizzas and burgers nowadays instead of all desi food. Okay, so why suddenly we see so much of change in our lifestyle? I want answers. So I open that book and see what Sri Aurobindo says, because he is also a Cambridge educated man. He has studied from Cambridge, in England. Okay, so what is he saying? That what is westernization according to him? What is modernization according to him? What is Indianness? I want to know. So to get answers to all my questions, I find that this book will give me answers. This has got some related perspectives. I will see. So I open the book and read. So in that case, I'm trying to learn certain things. Now I'm very critical about certain things that is happening in India. I want the answers. I'm reading that. But when I was younger, I read for pleasure. When I was younger, I got a book, Great Expectation, Charles Dickens. I opened the book. I started reading it, about Pip, and how Pip was a small boy, and how he was being held by a murderer. How the story goes. Okay, but now when I read, how do I read? I read according, the book's relevance according to the time. Okay, how the society persisted in England at that time, how the class division was there at the time. High class people, lower class were very poor, and there was no middle class at that time in England. So I read from a perspective now. So what happened to the people of that time? So to have a general idea, I read that book and I get a very practical kind of picture from the book about the time. Are you getting my point? So now as an adult reader, I'm reading from critical perspective. So what I'm trying to say is that to our students also, if we are teaching, okay, it's okay that when we're teaching from the junior classes also, we should try to encourage them to read in context, to find something what is happening here, why it is happening like this. So they should find some context, so that they can link. And if we are teaching high class students, and if you are teaching particularly honors class students, they should be very clearly taught, they should be taught how to interpret this with reference to the time, with reference to the society, with relation to the politics of that time, with relation to the author's perspective of the time. So there are multiple points of view that we should give them as a package to learn. That from all these points of views, you have to scan that particular novel. Okay, so now the perspective changes and our intention also changes. So overall, when in higher classes, when we are studying in, suppose high in our higher educations, what we have to do when we are reading these literature books, we have to see the political point of view, the societal point of view, the sometimes physiological, psychological point of view if it is there. Okay, so we have to read with multiple dimensions. If at certain point of time certain character is behaving in certain way, then try to analyze why something happens, why the protagonist, the hero of the book, commits murder, why, maybe his circumstances were such. So try to justify each and every person's, each and every character's position, role in the novel. This is how now we read as mature readers. Am I clear, learners?
Yes,
Am
ma'am.
I
Yes, ma'am.
oh, okay, all right. Okay, now uh, okay, here a little bit of explanation is given on Macaulay's minutes also. We'll see. Uh, so nowadays, generally, I can say that when we are reading, we study English. Okay, due to we have some purpose. Okay, and when we are reading a piece of literature, then maybe you are trying to find out some perspective, maybe political perspective, anything that you are trying to take out from that book. Okay, and when we are, when we are studying English, not maybe not as a very specialized subject, but maybe we are studying in English medium school, just like when I was teaching you Ram Mohan's wife, there also what you saw, that the kids are purposefully sent to English school, that particular kid is going to English school with the hope that he will become big officer. So I think till now, many of us parents, we also believe in the same thing, that when we are letting our kid to English medium school, very high fees, very sophisticated dress. Okay, so we expect that our kid should one day become a government servant. Okay, he'll go into one big babu class job. This is what we usually expect when we leave our boys, particularly to English medium school. And girls, when we leave our girls to English medium schools, then we feel that this girl will learn English so well that we will get one NRI husband. Okay, ଗୋଟେ NRI ଆସିବ and he will take my daughter for marriage. So she becomes so for her English medium school becomes a passport to her marriage, isn't it? Uh, and uh, suppose there's a couple, husband and a wife. Now husband is from English medium and wife is from some vernacular medium. Now when they are together, the trend has become such that the husband feels humiliated, the husband feels small if his wife is not able to speak in English. Just see the conditions. I'm trying to put forth some problems here. Okay, and sometimes it so happens that that in some homes, mother and father, they force their kids to speak in English. Okay, so learners, these are all problems that I have presented before you. What are the problems here? Particularly, we are thinking that we are leaving our kids to English medium school for economic purpose. This is a kind of investment, we think. English medium school means they will grow up and bring us back lots and lots of money. They will do some very high class jobs and they will get us a good sum of money. We think that. And when we leave our boys, particularly to English medium school, we think that one day he will come out from the school like a babu. He will become a babu. Okay, বড় IAS officer হব, বড় officer হব, government office হব তারও. So with that expectation, we leave that boy to English medium school. We leave the girl, we think that one NRI will come to woo her and take her away. Understand? These are the problems. Another problem is that when husband feels humiliated when wife is not able to speak in English. There's another family that forces all their kids to speak in English. Now tell me, these are all right or just misconceptions? Are they all right?
No, ma'am, this is absolutely a misconception.
Yes. Why a good babu can become a person from a vernacular school? It's absolutely okay. And uh, if we are if somebody, our spouse, is not able to ask is not able to speak in English, is there a problem? Absolutely no problem, because English is not our language. So just see how disillusioned we have become at this time, when we think that English is so compulsory that we cannot survive without English. So these are all misconceptions. See, I'm teaching you English literature, but I'm teaching you some misconceptions. Okay, because this English is a subject for us, is a subject. It's not our language. Please be clear with this. We are teaching, we are learning English as a subject. Okay, we should not get so biased about this subject that we consider it to be our language. It is not our language. It's absolutely no problem when our kids cannot speak in English. It's okay if our husband or wife, they do not know English, because that is not their language. Okay, so if my spouse, if my husband is not able to speak in English, it's okay, because he is not teaching English anywhere. So it's okay that he should not know. It is not his language. Mine, neither. So it's absolutely all right that we are in our own vernacular. We should not feel hesitant about it. So, and this is our responsibility as English teacher, to tell our students to demarcate this particular area, which is for us, which is for not. What is for us is English as a subject. What is not for us is English, our language. English is not our language. We have to be very clear. Okay, so if you tell me that why are you teaching English, then because it's my subject but it's not my language. Okay, so I think this is the best possible answer that we can give to those people who question us that why are you teaching English. Okay, why are you an English teacher? So this is the best thing that we can tell, that it is not our language. We are studying it as a subject. And another important thing, you should be proud of, that you are learning, MA English. This month, not this month, yes, this month only, I had been to West Bengal and there was a conference. Okay, there was a conference and I had a paper presentation, and many of speakers we had joined to present papers. And one of the speakers was from the area of geography. Okay, a special guest from geography. And that lady said, well, she gave a very beautiful presentation, because it was on literature. And she was speaking, being a geography professor, she was speaking on on the importance of literature for everyone. So while she was teaching that, she said that I am a geography teacher, I am from the area geography. But from her experience, she is saying that when I was doing my PhD, okay, I took out case studies from literature books, from novels. Okay, see, in order to find facts, and that to geographical facts, that researcher took out case studies from novels. Okay, and what we say, hey, this fellow is reading novel, ये तो बर्बाद है, ये बैठ के novel पढ़ रहा है. We say like this. But see, from novel also you can find facts. So novels are not completely fictitious things. They have some very deep core truth in them. And that is why you can see that many subjects, not only geography, but you can find that anthropology, economics, psychology, they also take case studies from different books, different novels, different literary writings. They pick up case studies, and they just experimented to get their own answers. That is also done in the area of research. So as English teachers, as students of English also, of literature, not English, of literature, we should be proud that from our area many other areas could be originated, and many other areas could get helped by us. Okay, our literature could help many fields, many areas. All right. So our responsibility in this case is very high as English teachers for we people. Okay. So whatever I said about these people and their misconception, all of you would say that this is all wrong. Okay, you will say that this is all misconception, and this will take people to nowhere when they are so much prejudiced about English language, and when they try to neglect their own language. So I think all of you will agree to this. Okay, now uh, yes, now we will see that now exactly what is the objective of teaching. Now, I think this is a lot like a continuation of yesterday's class. Again, we are discussing about some of the objectives of teaching, particularly in India. Excuse me. Now, we have already talked a lot about Macaulay's minutes of 1835, excuse me. And there, in his minutes of 1835, Macaulay has brought a lot of ideas from, no doubt, from British academic system of that time, and then uh, and he said that other languages will be withdrawn. Initially, he said that English education in India will withdraw the support to study Arabic and Sanskrit. Okay, so earlier Arabic and Sanskrit was read vastly in India as a native language. Now Macaulay said no, no more of Arabic or Sanskrit studies. Now English will be there. English will be the medium. Okay, now Gandhiji responds back. Okay, he writes back in his book called Young India. This was published in 1921. Young India. He gives a critical remark to the minutes of 1835. Okay, so he raises actually many questions to the policies. Now Gandhiji was not that man that he will sit passively and you will do anything. Till he survived, he questioned everything. Why this? Why that? Okay, and he was a really a difficult person for the British. So he raised many important issues regarding the minutes of 1835 by Macaulay. Okay, and he also said that if before independence, if this is the standard of our education, then what will happen after whenever India gets independence? Okay, so this question, please mark it. This question that English should replace all other languages in India is also a very important question till today. Okay, it's a very debatable issue till today that what should be done. Is it right that English education will surpass all other languages? Now let's see. We'll try to get the answer to this. Now, you know, actually, if you read history of India and uh, the pre-independence India, post-independence India, if you read it very broadly, then you will find that there are numerous culture and political forces. Okay, numerous. You cannot just blame Macaulay. Macaulay said, and we did not that. There were numerous other forces. If you read history, there were numerous cultural and political impacts. Okay, that led to the introduction of English as a medium of instruction in India. Okay, and also English got included in our literature during pre-independence time. During from that time also, we were bound to read those English literature. But at that time, unfortunately, we didn't have our own English literature. We mainly read British and classical literatures in India. Okay, it was imposed on us. So here you must. It is very important for you to know how English literature. Okay, in our universities got their places. Okay, when? During the colonial times. Understand, you have to very importantly mark, feel how English entered into our universities. Indian universities के अंदर में कैसे colonial time में English literature penetrate किया. Okay, that we are going to study. Now, at that time, remember, we see that during this mid 19th century, there was a lot of revolt, सिपाही म्यूटिनी और बहुत सारा रिवोल्ट चल रहा था. बट ऑल्सो रिमेंबर दे वर 3 universities established during that time in 1856. Okay, in 1856, 3 most important universities came to force, and these 3 universities, they propagated little liberal education towards those colonized people. I think last class also I was telling you that we started with Anglo Arabic and Anglo Sanskrit studies in our universities. Okay, so these important universities, when they were established, at that time, these 3 universities particularly, they were a little liberal with our Indian literature, Indian studies. Okay, and then what happened? Okay, so yes, what I was saying is that these 3 universities actually, um, I give a little diversified explanation. Actually, what happened? These 3 universities actually, they rather gave, they appreciated British English as an elite class. Okay, not that no, colonized people were not given emphasis. Colonized education was not given emphasis. Colonized language was not given emphasis. But what was given more emphasis was British language. Okay, their language, English language. And also in those universities, it was very good. It was quite appreciated when British goods and British, if people had British tastes and British goods with them, British commodities if they had, that was more appreciated. Where in these newly set up industries. So actually, this was also a kind of economic tactics that British people involved. That universities will be the site of colonial power, where even though you're Indian, but you have to show your love for English things, for English goods. Okay, for their style of whatever they think is elite. Okay, so we should also pretend like that. That was more appreciated because it was a strategy, okay, to economize the British system of business. Okay, so actually they wanted to have their own domination in the economy. So obviously, if university people are behaving in a very English way, so other people will also follow suit. They will also try to imitate these university going people in order to show themselves as elite as well. Okay, so purposefully these universities, they were appreciated when more British style was accepted by the people. Okay, now so at that time British also felt that there is a need for a fashion. Okay, to create fashion. Okay, so if you want to show off your class, you should have a certain fashion, you should have a certain get up, you should have a certain style. Okay, so we kind of Indians, we started to develop a kind of style, many Indians as well in those universities, in order to impress those British. Okay, and this was also one of the plans of Macaulay. Okay, because Macaulay has also said in his minutes of 1835 that in order to govern these millions and millions of people, okay, so a class of people have to be created. Okay, within these Indians, class of people has to be created who should have English taste. Okay, who should behave like English. Okay, in their moral behavior, their intellectual behavior, it should be English, so that these people will attract masses of people, Indian people. Okay, and all those Indian people will imitate these university going Indians. Okay, so when they imitate, so they will dress like British, they will dress like these Indian university students, they will behave like Indian university students, they will imitate them. As a result, British economy will rise through their dressing, through their sophistication. So they will have benefits out of our uh, educational molding. Can you understand, or should I repeat this? Have you
Ma'am,
understood?
please repeat once again.
Yeah, I knew there'll be problem. See, uh, as I said, later in which year was that? 18?
56.
Yes, 1856. Right, you're right. 1856, universities were set up. Okay. In Bengal also, in different places, universities were set up. Now, these universities were the main target of the British and Macaulay also. Okay, who had formed that policy? Just give me 1 second time, learners. Okay. So these universities, when they were set up, Indian students were there in these universities. They got enrolled in these universities. Okay. Now see how clever British people were. They wanted these Indian students, those who enrolled themselves, those who had enrolled themselves in these universities, to behave like British people. Okay, to not only talk in English but to dress up like English, to behave like English. Understood? Now they wanted this because these are few university going people, because three universities are only there all over India. So there are many millions of people who do not get the advantage to go to universities. So what they will do? Obviously, they will look up to these few Indians who are going to universities. So when they are looking up to them, they will try to imitate them. So when they go in suit and in good shiny shoes, so other masks will also try to imitate them. They will also wear suit, shoes, tie. They will behave like English. So what will happen? If these masks will buy coat and suit and shoes and ties and their sophistication, then British people will have a raised economy. Their economy will rise if Indians are purchasing those goods. Understand or not?
Yes, ma'am.
ओके तो से जो फ्यू इंडियंस तीनटा यूनिवर्सिटी रे केते केते पिला जिबे हार्डली यू कैन से हार्डली एट द टाइम टेक 5,000 चलो मैक्सिमम वन यूनिवर्सिटी मैक्सिमम 5,000 पीपल स्टूडेंट्स 5 10 15,000 and there are millions of people okay who couldn't get through to that university तो से कौन ट्राई करिबे they'll try to imitate them okay से माने कहबे जे we should also live like them kete sophisticated kete educated we will also behave like them so in order to imitate excuse me those university people these people millions of people will by their kind of dressing they will try to imitate their attitude their personality तो ଏମିତି ହେଲେ କ'ଣ ହବ ବ୍ରିଟିଶ ଗୁଡ୍ସ କିଣିବେ ନା ଇଣ୍ଡିଆନ ଗୁଡ୍ କ'ଣ ଥିଲା ଧୋତି ଯୋଉଟା କି ସ୍ୱରାଜ ମୁଭମେଣ୍ଟରେ ଗାନ୍ଧୀ କହିଲେ ଡୋଣ୍ଟ ୱେୟାର ଦ୍ୟାଟ ସୁଟ୍ you go to university you go wherever se protest kale okay swadeshi not sorry swadeshi movement start kale okay charkha dhale wore his own clothes and he wore his own dhoti okay so this swadeshi movement was again this kind of suits and boots indians were now started ए जो मैकोलेरो प्लांट है सक्सेसफुल है many Indians now started imitating those few university going Indians. All right. So, in order to make these people aware, Gandhi ji started a revolt of Swadeshi movement. स्वदेशी स्वदेशी मतलब अपना देश का तो अपना देश का कल्चर है धोती पहनना तो अपने खुद से धोती बनाओ और खुद से धोती पहनो so in that way you will be encouraging your small scale industries also now what you are doing blindly you are buying their goods तुम्हारा तो इकोनॉमी जा रहा है गांधी जी मेड पीपल अवेयर कि ये लोग चालाकी करके आपका इकोनॉमी को बर्बाद कर रहे हैं ये लोग आपका लैंड में कॉटन प्रोड्यूस करते हैं फॉरेन में लेके जाते हैं वहाँ पे वो ये उसका सूट बूट फैब्रिक बनाते हैं और वापस आपको हाई रेट्स में बेचते हैं लो रेट में लेके जाते हैं कॉटन रॉ कॉटन हाई रेट में आपको बेचते हैं एंड ग्रेजुअली यू आर गोइंग पुअरर एंड पुअरर एंड पुअरर मतलब तुम लोग दिखोगे कैसे बेगर विथ सूट एंड बूट सो Mahatma Gandhi said, don't become a suited, booted beggars. Make your own clothes or buy from your own Indian small scale industries. Buy from your own people. Nowadays, also, you can see that our government is talking a lot about make in India. अभी गवर्नमेंट चिल्ला रहा है मेक इन इंडिया अपना प्रोडक्ट्स खुद बनाओ सेल्फ डिपेंडेंट बन जाओ गवर्नमेंट इज नाउ शाउटिंग ओके एंड आवर गवर्नमेंट इज मेकिंग अस अवेयर कि हम लोग सिर्फ अगर बाहर से ही खरीदते हैं तो हमारा क्या क्या लॉस होता है वी आर बिकमिंग पुअर वी आर नॉट मेकिंग आवर ओन थिंग्स अदर वी आर बाइंग अदर्स थिंग्स मेकिंग दैट पर्सन रिच यूजिंग हिज कल्चर एंड वेयरिंग क्लोथ्स फॉरेन गुड वो जो क्या ब्रांडेड है Adidas and all those things we are buying from them. So what we are doing? We are raising their economy and we are becoming poorer. हमारा जो simple jeans बनाने वाला small scale industry है, it has to be shut down if we all start wearing those imported jeans, imported goods if we start wearing. So this is what was happening at that time. Okay, at that time this plan was successful of the British people we were, we were starting to buy their goods, we were trying to imitate them. So as a protest of all these things, Mahatma Gandhi tried to open the eyes of the Indians, and he said that no, let's have our Swadeshi movement. Yeah, it got disconnected actually. Okay, where was I? Yes, so Gandhiji started it as a revolt. So he said Swadeshi. Now, Swadeshi doesn't only mean goods, Swadeshi also means our own culture, our own language, okay, our own morals, our own ethics. We have it. हमारे कंट्री में पहले से है. Gandhiji reminded us we need not learn anybody else's culture, their etiquettes, their manners. We don't need. We are not barbarians. Okay, so Gandhiji, time and again, he stood and he revolted against those systems, and he tried to make people aware that these are just British strategies. Okay, and that till today our government is saying the same thing: make in India. खुद खुद जो हो उसको ज्यादा इम्पोर्टेंस दो. तुम्हारा कल्चर, तुम्हारा ड्रेसिंग, तुम्हारा प्रोडक्ट्स, अगर टेक्नोलॉजी आ गया ठीक है, प्रोडक्ट टेक्नोलॉजी मेड इन योर कंट्री ओनली, डू दैट, प्रोड्यूस दैट. सेम थिंग गवर्नमेंट इज रिपीटिंग बिकॉज नाउ अगेन वी आर गोइंग वेस्टर्नाइज्ड. फिर से वो लोग को देख के हम लोग डिसइल्यूजन हो रहे हैं. हमको अपना कल्चर अच्छा नहीं लग रहा है, अपना ड्रेसिंग पुअर लग रहा है. ओके, सो नाउ अगेन वी आर इमिटेटिंग ऑल दैट. और बाहर से टेलीविजन हम लोग लेके आ जाते हैं. सो व्हाट इज हैपनिंग, आवर इकोनॉमी इज गोइंग डाउन. So once again, you can see that from few years back, government is shouting, "Make in India," give stress on your own products. Okay, so the same thing was happening at that time. So English was introduced as compulsory in Indian universities. Okay, and mainly you can see that actually this will give power to selected class of people. ओके, यूनिवर्सिटी में तो थोड़े बहुत पढ़े. तो उस टाइम ब्रिटिश लोग का स्ट्रैटेजी ये था कि ये जो कुछ लोग जो एजुकेशन पा रहे हैं यूनिवर्सिटीज में, ओके, government was sorry, British people, British colonial rule was trying to break us, to divide us. Okay, English educated, powerful, highly elite Indians, one side. Other side, locally educated, simple, remaining stuck to Indian culture Indians. So they were trying to make a class divide. Okay, they gave a lot of benefits to those university students, Indian students, and the rest were treated like dogs. So this way they were trying to break our country. Okay, so at that time, कब ये माइन्यूट्स के बाद, जो मिनट्स लिखने के बाद और ये सब जब स्ट्रेटेजीज आया, यूनिवर्सिटीज हुआ 1880s में. ओके, दिस क्लास डिवाइड वाज purposefully made in order to divide our country. So at this time, English emerged as a language of power and political privilege. जिसके पास पावर है, political privileges है, that person was very fluent in English. It was marked. So at that time, you can see there was a culture gap at that time. Okay, so English educated were very much separated from the general mass of India. Okay, जनरल मास तो कोई मिडिल क्लास थे तो कोई लो क्लास थे, बट दीज स्पेशल पीपल, यूनिवर्सिटी एजुकेटेड पीपल, दे वर गिवन पावर, दे वर गिवन एम्फोसिस बाय ब्रिटिश पीपल. सो दिस वाज ऑन स्ट्रैटेजी. ऐसे नहीं है कि दे लव दिस यूनिवर्सिटी इंटेलिजेंट पीपल, इंटेलेक्चुअल्स को अच्छा समझते थे इसलिए. नो, They did not like any of these Indians. It was just a strategy for them to break India, to divide India, so that we won't get together to fight. This was all planned. Okay. So at that time, what happened? वो जो minute of education था 1835 का, it was completely silent on primary education. Okay, primary education, छोटे बच्चों का education, it did not say anything. It was quiet at that time. Okay, but you can see English literature was introduced in universities. Okay, why? Because they said that it was trying to give some universal values. English literature, if you read till this 19th century, what you find? इंग्लिश लिटरेचर में यू विल फाइंड ओनली दे आर टॉकिंग मेनली मेन सब्जेक्ट्स तो यही था ना दे आर टॉकिंग अबाउट हाई क्लास फैमिलीज कि वो टाइम में विक्टोरियन पीरियड में हाउ देयर वाज अ क्लास डिवाइड एंड हाउ gentle manliness was propagated. So all these things were no, purposefully put, it was fed to the Indian young minds of the university students. Okay, so they tried to show that university education matlab good literacy means elitist kind of vision, okay, of higher education. And that what happened, it enlarged the gap between the the real society and the subject of the learning. Why the subject of the learning was different? Because it was about British domain. It was English literature. It was not Indian literature. Okay. It was not about Indian culture. It was not about Indian thinking. It was about Western thinking. It was about English thinking. I mean, British thinking. Understood this or should I repeat? Tell me. This is little critical. Understood or should I repeat? You should be clear with this. These are all the foundational things that you must know. Is it clear or am I going to repeat it? Tell me. Chinmay, think what I said and tell me if I should repeat it. Sridhar, is it clear with you? Kindly respond. I couldn't know if you are hearing me or not. So please tell me. Sridhar?
Ma'am, please repeat, ma'am.
Yes, I knew this. Chinmay?
Clear, ma'am.
Very good, Chinmay. Sangamitra? Understood? Or should I repeat?
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am,
It is
repeat
clear.
1 second.
Okay. Yes, yes, tell me what happened.
Ma'am, please repeat 1 second.
Okay, fine. See, take it like a story. If you take it like some theory, you won't be able to understand, you will get confused. Okay. Or if you want to use vernacular like Hindi or Odia, then I can use that for your more convenience to understand. Otherwise, if you are fine with English, then I'll continue in English. Okay, see, after as I told you, around 1850s, isn't it? 3 universities started. देखो ऑल ओवर इंडिया में नया से स्टार्ट हुआ 3 यूनिवर्सिटीज. ओके ना, वो ये सब ब्रिटिश स्ट्रैटेजी था कि जानबूझकर इन्होंने 3 यूनिवर्सिटीज खोला. ऑलराइट, 3 यूनिवर्सिटीज को इनिशिएट किया और तीनों यूनिवर्सिटीज में इंग्लिश लिटरेचर पढ़ना कंपलसरी. अभी कैसे है? अभी अभी उत्कल यूनिवर्सिटी में सब कुछ है. इंग्लिश लिटरेचर है, उड़िया लिटरेचर है, संस्कृत लिटरेचर है, zoology है, डिफरेंट ब्रांचेस आते हैं, मैथमेटिक्स, सब कुछ है. ओके, लेकिन वो लोग का पर्पस था मेनली ये 3 यूनिवर्सिटीज एस्टेब्लिश करने का कि इंग्लिश लिटरेचर हम लोग कंपलसरी पढ़ाएं. एवरी वन हैज टू रीड इंग्लिश लिटरेचर. समझ में आया? तो यूनिवर्सिटीज में जो इंग्लिश लिटरेचर पढ़ते थे तो ऑब्वियसली वो इंग्लिश में फ्लुएंट होंगे. दे मस्ट बी वेरी वेल वर्स्ड विथ इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज ऑल्सो. ओके, तो ये लोग को इंग्लिश लिटरेचर पढ़ाया जाता था. इंग्लिश लिटरेचर उस टाइम में क्या होता था? जो हम लोगों ने स्टार्ट किया था यूजी क्लासेस में, क्या था? वी स्टार्टेड विथ चॉसर, देन वी वेंट टू मिल्टन, शेक्सपियर. ओके, तो ये सब क्या है? दीज आर ऑल टिपिकल ब्रिटिश राइटर्स of टिपिकल टाइम्स। ओके, और ये यूनिवर्सिटीज तो 18 समथिंग में एस्टेब्लिश हुआ, मतलब वही 18 समथिंग ईयर तक का लिटरेचर इनको पढ़ाया जाता था। तो वो 18 समथिंग तक का जो लिटरेचर था, इट वाज मेनली अबाउट इंग्लिश लिटरेचर। इफ यू हैव रेड टिल देन, एक तो हाई क्लास सोसाइटी में बहुत ज़्यादा था, शेक्सपियरन टाइम, बेन जॉनसन टाइम, वो सिर्फ किंग्स के बारे में बात करते थे, सोफिस्टिकेशन के बारे में बात करते थे। लेटर जब विक्टोरियन पीरियड आया, देन दे सेड दैट हाउ दे शुड राइज इन द इकोनॉमिक हायरार्की। अगर मैं आज गरीब हूँ तो मैं क्या करूँ इन ऑर्डर टू रेज माई सेल्फ इन द हायरार्की। तुमने पढ़ा होगा प्राइड प्राइड एंड प्रेजुडिस, जेन ऑस्टिन का, इट्स अ मास्टरपीस। उसमें वो क्या लिखी है कि पीपल ऑफ दैट टाइम, इवन वुदरिंग हाइट्स में तुमने पढ़ा होगा, कि समझा होगा एटलीस्ट, कि इफ गर्ल्स लेडीज वांटेड टू raise themselves in the social hierarchy, then they must marry a rich man. Have you read this? अरे भाई से yes or no, you are PG students, पढ़ा है तो?
हाँ हाँ, yes ma'am.
Okay, good. So what you learn that? You learn that everybody there is grouping for gentlemanly life. Everyone is struggling hard to become a rich person. ओके, एक फेज था इंग्लिश लिटरेचर का जब सभी सिर्फ रिच पर्सन को ही डिपिक्ट किया जाता था, किंग्स को, लॉर्ड्स को, और क्या थे उनके, ड्यूक्स को, डचेस को, हाई क्लास पीपल। ओके, और एक टाइम आया तो ऐसे डिस्कशन होने लगा दैट वी हैव टू डू समथिंग इन ऑर्डर टू रेज इन दिस क्लास हायरार्की। ओके, तो जनरली इंडियन लोगों को फीड किया गया, यूनिवर्सिटी के स्टूडेंट्स जो थे, पर्पसफुली उनको फीड किया गया उनके माइंड में दैट you, in order to gain sophistication, you have to rise in the social hierarchy। और अगर तुमको राइज करना है सोशल हायरार्की में, इट कुड बी ओनली थ्रू इंग्लिश एंड थ्रू ब्रिटिश सोफिस्टिकेशन। अंडरस्टूड? दिस
Yes
वाज
ma'am.
पर्पसफुली फेड इन देयर माइंड। ठीक है, तो ये जो कुछ लोग थे, ये लोग ना अलग हो गए बाकी सब से, बाकी सब इंडियन से अलग हो गए। ये लोग एलीट क्लास हो गए। और एलीट क्लास का स्टेटस कौन दिया इनको? ब्रिटिश पीपल ओनली, इन ऑर्डर टू डिवाइड अस। ओके, क्लास डिवीजन करके हमको डिवाइड करने के लिए दिस वाज द स्ट्रेटेजी। ओके, so these people, through British government at that time ruling us, okay, they gave lots of power, they gave lot of material gain also। उनको ना रिच बना के रखते थे। तुमको रिच बनना है तो इंग्लिश सीखना पड़ेगा, रिच बनना है तो इंग्लिश टाइप का एटिकेट्स मैनर्स कॉपी करना पड़ेगा कुछ लोगों के लिए, so that others will imitate these people, few people। तो उनका ज़्यादा इकोनॉमी राइज होगा ब्रिटिश लोग का। ओके, so but what happened to English language? English language at that time it emerged as a power or political privilege। ओके, और क्या हो गया, एक क्लास डिवीजन हो गया। देयर वाज अ गैप between these elites and between the middle class and low class people of India। ओके, एक मास डिवाइड हो गया। सो ये जो 1835 का मिनट ऑफ एजुकेशन था, ये प्राइमरी एजुकेशन के ऊपर में चुपचाप था, इट वाज साइलेंट। पर्पसफुली इंग्लिश लिटरेचर वाज फोर्स्ड ओनली इन द यूनिवर्सिटीज, और उन्होंने बोला कि ये यूनिवर्सल वैल्यू है, ये जो तुम पढ़ रहे हो ना इंग्लिश लिटरेचर में, ब्रिटिश लिटरेचर में, यही है यूनिवर्सल वैल्यू। तुमको अगर अच्छे से रहना है, हैप्पीली रहना है, देन यू मस्ट follow these rules given in the English literature books। Okay, so उनको बता दिया गया कि इंग्लिश पढ़ोगे तो एलीट होके रहोगे। और in this way also a great gap was maintained in between between these elite class people and other socially little bit behind people। Alright, तो इससे क्या हो गया, हमारे एजुकेशन, ठीक है लोगों में तो डिवीजन हो ही गया, लेकिन हमारे एजुकेटेड क्लास में भी डिवीजन हो गया। एजुकेटेड क्लास अलग हो गए, मास अलग हो गए। ओके, और ये जो दीज क्लासेस वे स्पेशली व्हाट वी कॉल बाबू क्लास। ये जो एलिट क्लास है ये बाबू क्लास हो गए, एंड दे completely imitated, blindly imitated the English class, English, the English people. ओके, तो यहाँ पर महात्मा गांधी एक कमेंट करते हैं उनके राइटिंग हरिजन में। महात्मा गांधी सेज इंग्लिश मीडियम क्रिएटेड एन इम्पॉसिबल बैरियर। ये बहुत मुश्किल का बैरियर रेडी कर चुका है ब्रिटिश लोगों ने। बैरियर बिटवीन whom? बिटवीन मी एंड द मेंबर्स ऑफ माय फैमिली। ओके, सो मैं तो एक नॉर्मल सिंपल सा इंडियन हूँ। ओके, मेरे फैमिली मेंबर्स भी एक नॉर्मल सिंपल से इंडियन थे, बट नाउ ये जो एजुकेशन सिस्टम आया वो उनको मुझसे अलग कर दिया। मैं नॉर्मल रह गया, छोटा मोटा रह गया, दे बिकेम द एलिट क्लास। सो माय फैमिली मेंबर्स हैव बीन डिवाइडेड। मेरा घर उन्होंने तोड़ दिया, डिवाइड कर दिया थ्रू दिस इंग्लिश मीडियम स्टडीज। ओके, और ये जो फैमिली टूट गया बिकॉज वो जो मेरे फैमिली मेंबर्स थे, दे हैड गॉन टू दोज इंग्लिश स्कूल्स, एंड the way they behaved, it showed that they were becoming aliens to their own land. इंडिया में रह के वो ज्यादा ब्रिटिश हो रहे थे, so they were losing the culture of their home country. As a result, they were becoming the strangers in their own homeland. Then he says that I certainly became a superior person. Even my dress began to undergo imperceptible changes. So he is talking about those Indian people, those who were becoming British. So he said that I means एजुकेटेड क्लास, मैं बन गया सुपीरियर पर्सन। क्यों? क्योंकि मैं तो इंग्लिश स्टाइल में ड्रेसअप होने लगा हूँ, मेरे अंदर में कितना चेंजेस आने लगा है। जस्ट लाइक ब्रिटिश, आई हैव स्टार्टेड टू लुक डाउन अपॉन माई ओन इंडियन पीपल। Okay, so these are the changes that is becoming visible towards me. गांधी जी ऐसे करके क्रिटिसाइज करते हैं टू दोज इंडियंस हु आर बिकमिंग मोर एंड मोर इंग्लिश इन their फॉर्म, इन their स्टाइल, इन their ड्रेसिंग, इन their पर्सनालिटी, इन their एटिकेट्स। ओके, तो जो कल्चरल एलिटिज्म आ गया इंग्लिश एजुकेशन, इंग्लिश पढ़ने के बाद, दिस इज अ सोशल रियलिटी। ओके, और ये जो सोशल रियलिटी है वो अभी तक चल रहा है, दिस इज गोइंग ऑन टिल टुडे, एंड दिस इज द प्रॉब्लम that we have to address as teachers. Okay, if you are reading English, that doesn't mean that you have become a babu. Your babuness will only be shown when you are a human being. Okay, when you have some good moralities, when you have certain kind of love and affection for each human and inhuman individual, then only you are a real person. Sif education, English education is nothing. That has to be taught by us to our students. So आस्ते आस्ते क्या हुआ, ये जो बाबू क्लास तो एक साइड हो गए, सेग्रीगेटेड हो गए, और जो मास मूवमेंट स्टार्ट हुआ, इट ब्रॉट रिवोल्ट पूरा, इट वाज लाइक अ स्वीप, ये झाड़ू के जैसा था जो झाड़ के फेंक दिया in 1947 to all those ideologies, to all those compulsory English studies, सब कुछ साइड हो गया। ओके, एवरीथिंग वेंट। तो ये बाबू क्लास लोग भी साइड हो गए। इंग्लिश लिटरेचर क्या हुआ? इंग्लिश लिटरेचर क्या हो गया? ऑप्शनल पेपर हो गया अमंग स्पेशली द एस्पिरेंट्स दोज हु वर ट्राइंग फॉर इंडियन सिविल सर्विसेज। आज तक देखो इंग्लिश लिटरेचर कंपलसरी नहीं है, इट्स एन ऑप्शनल स्टडी। ओके, इन सिविल सर्विस एग्जामिनेशंस, लेकिन कॉलोनियल टाइम में वो कंपलसरी था। नाउ इट बिकेम ऑप्शनल। तुमको लेना है इंग्लिश लिटरेचर लो, नहीं लेना है नहीं लो, इट्स अप टू यू। ओके, बट ग्रेजुअली, एज आई वाज टेलिंग यू, इंडिपेंडेंस के बाद राइज होने लगा इंग्लिश का। लेकिन रीज़न दूसरा था। उस टाइम में लोग पढ़ना चाहते थे इंग्लिश लिटरेचर, क्योंकि वो लोग भी ब्रिटिश लोग के जैसा अमीर होना चाहते थे। ओके, ब्रिटिश लाइफस्टाइल जीना चाहते थे। लेकिन पोस्ट इंडिपेंडेंस दैट वाज नॉट द रीज़न। द पोस्ट इंडिपेंडेंस पीपल वांटेड टू लर्न। ओके, पीपल वांटेड टू नो, क्यूरियस होने लगे, एंड ड्यू टू द क्यूरियोसिटी दे रेड। ओके, सो वी विल सी दैट व्हाट इज द कंडीशन ऑफ इंग्लिश स्टडीज टुडे। ओके, तो हमको देखो अभी तक इंग्लिश लिटरेचर को लेके अब कितना कंफ्यूजन है, ये क्या एलिटिस्ट है, क्या हाई क्लास लैंग्वेज है, कितना कंफ्यूजन है, क्या क्या एक 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 वर्नाकुलर मीडियम में जाने वाला बच्चा क्या इंग्लिश में अच्छा नहीं हो सकता है। सो देयर देयर आर अ लॉट ऑफ कंफ्यूजन इन आवर माइंड। ओके, एंड वी नीड टू remove this confusion. So the first answer to this kind of confusion is that there is no superior inferior thing. बस we are learning English, इंग्लिश में कुछ पढ़ते हैं तो दैट इज आवर क्यूरियोसिटी। और ये वर्ल्ड वाइड एक स्टेबल लैंग्वेज है। ओके, इन आवर रिसर्च वर्क्स, इन आवर फाइंडिंग्स, टेक्नोलॉजी में, सब में दिस इज द स्टैंडर्ड लैंग्वेज, सो वी आर रीडिंग इट, दैट्स इट। ओके, सो मी बीइंग एन इंग्लिश टीचर, जब मुझे मेरे यूनिवर्सिटी में बच्चे बुलाते हैं इंग्लिश मैम, तो दैट डजंट मीन दैट आई बिकम एन इंग्लिश मैम coming from England. It means that I'm just an English teacher. Okay, so we should leave those prejudices and we should embrace English. ठीक है, इंग्लिश को हम लोग प्यार करते हैं, इट इज़ नाइस, बट प्यार करते हैं एज आवर सब्जेक्ट। सब्जेक्ट जो हम लोग को बहुत ज़्यादा और नॉलेज देता है इन ईच एंड एवरी फील्ड, इट हेल्प्स अस, सो वी एम्ब्रेस इंग्लिश एज अ सब्जेक्ट हियर। ओके, so we will see that we have already seen कि over the years English literature और English language कैसे साल 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 हर साल के बाद कैसे इवॉल्व हुआ और अभी तक आया। ओके, सो अभी जो है इंग्लिश ऑनर्स बोलते हैं। हाँ, कितने घमंड से बोलते हैं हम लोग, क्या पढ़ रहे हो, इंग्लिश ऑनर्स। ओके, वी थोड़ा सा टेढ़ा मेढ़ा फेस करके हम लोग बोलते हैं हम लोग इंग्लिश ऑनर्स पढ़ते हैं, to try to show that we are somebody very sophisticated, but that is not it. English honors actually depicts that we are the people who are well equipped with social, economic and cultural spaces of the world. Okay, हम लोग वर्ल्ड लिटरेचर भी पढ़ते हैं, सिर्फ इंडियन लिटरेचर इन इंग्लिश नहीं पढ़ते, वर्ल्ड लिटरेचर भी पढ़ते हैं। तो this we must teach our students that when we are reading English honors, that doesn't mean that there is some special pride in that because we are reading English, but we should take pride that we are well equipped with the social, economical, cultural, philosophical studies of the world। बहुत सारा पर्सपेक्टिव से हम लोग पढ़ते हैं, and maybe in that case we are knowledgeable than many other people who have taken up specific honors। Okay, so we are studying overall everything through our studies। Okay, इसमें कोई एलिटिज्म नहीं है, कोई प्रिविलेज नहीं है, और कोई हाई क्लास लो क्लास नहीं है, बट देयर कम्स अ होल न्यू आइडिया ऑफ नॉलेज। हमारे पास नॉलेज ज़्यादा होना चाहिए। ओके, सो एंड इफ़ यू सी नाउअडेज इफ़ यू आर टेकिंग इंग्लिश नॉट ऑनर्स, लेकिन हम लोग अगर इंग्लिश का स्पेशल कोर्सेज भी करते, देन वी फाइंड आवरसेल्व्स गुड स्पीकर्स with multiple dimensions on each area. So when we go in seminars, in those academic forums, and when we are well versed in English, then you can find that we get more ideas to speak on. Okay, and also we find that there is still today there is a class of people who can speak English, not everybody, बहुत लोग समझ सकते हैं, बट दे आर नॉट दैट फ्लुएंट, एंड इफ वी वांट टू बी फ्लुएंट वी हैव टू टेक सम स्पेशल क्लासेस, especially when we try to speak more and more in English, we become fluent in the language, that's it। और presently क्या है, and this is a bitter truth, but we should address this truth also कि presently if we want more fame, suppose in multinational companies, corporate sectors है, banking है, if you are talking to कुछ कंपनी है कि सपोज हमारा कोई इलेक्ट्रॉनिक मोबाइल फ़ोन आया, कुछ प्रॉब्लम है तो मैंने कॉल किया कस्टमर केयर, एंड दैट पर्सन ऑन द अदर साइड ऑफ द फ़ोन कितना स्मार्टली इंग्लिश में बोलता है, नो यस मैम, नो मैम, विल सेंड अनदर सेट ऑफ योर मोबाइल फ़ोन, ये वो कितना फ्लुएंटली बोलता है। तो व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू से हियर इज़ दैट कि हम लोग ये जो कॉर्पोरेट सेक्टर्स में काम करते हैं, तो वी नीड अ लिटिल बिट ब्रश्ड अप एंड रिफाइंड इंग्लिश। तो इससे हमारा पैकेज मीन्स जो सैलरी होता है, इट बिकम्स लिटिल मोर स्ट्रॉन्गर। दैट इज़ द फैक्ट ऑफ द टाइम, एंड दैट इज़ वाई वी कैन सी दैट multiple coaching institutes in teaching in spoken English is just mushrooming around our homes और इंग्लिश कन्वर्सेशन इम्पोर्टेंट है आपको जॉब इंटरव्यूज़ के लिए, एग्ज़ाम्स के लिए, ऐसे करके एस्पिरेंट्स को इनकरेज करके भर दिया जाता है इंस्टीट्यूट्स में। ओके, ठीक है, वो कितना फ़ायदा होता है या नहीं, दैट इज़ अ डिफरेंट थिंग, बट what I'm trying to say is that कि English अगर थोड़ा सा well versed हो तो you get better scope. Okay, so here you can say that many people they will accept the fact कि English जानने से हमारा पर्सनालिटी तो मोल्ड हो ही जाता है, शेप हो ही जाता है। ओके, बट वी बिकम अ डिफरेंट काइंड ऑफ कैरेक्टर। ओके, लैंग्वेज नहीं जानने से पहले हम लोग डिफरेंट कैरेक्टर्स रहते हैं, और इसको इंग्लिश को जानने के बाद, वास्टली पढ़ने के बाद, वी बिकम डिफरेंट कैरेक्टर्स। हमारा सिर्फ पर्सनालिटी चेंज नहीं होता, हमारा कैरेक्टर, थिंकिंग, आउटलुक, एवरीथिंग चेंजेस, एंड आई थिंक दिस इज द अनडिनाइबल फैक्ट that we must address in the contemporary English studies. Okay, our perspectives become little different. Okay, so you can see that you get a little bit enhanced personality, और जब तुम्हारा पर्सनालिटी बेटर होता है तो तुम्हारा प्रिविलेज जो तुमको मिलता है सोसाइटी से, कल्चर से, दैट यू एंजॉय। ओके, एंड ऑल दिस थिंग्स आर प्रोवाइडेड अनडाउटेडली बाय द लर्निंग ऑफ इंग्लिश। ओके, लेकिन वो फिर से वही प्रॉब्लम होता है जो ब्रिटिश में होता है, जो ब्रिटिश टाइम में होता था, कि फिर एक गैप हो जाता है। ओके, दैट गैप स्टिल रिमेन्स, इफ यू लाइक इट और नॉट, द गैप स्टिल रिमेन्स। देयर इज वन क्लास हु स्टडिंग वेरी वेल, इंग्लिश करता है, स्पोकन इंग्लिश सीखता है, दे आर फ्लुएंट, लेकिन everybody in India is cannot is not so privileged to go to those tutorials. Okay, तो आधे सिटीजन्स रह जाते हैं, दे डोंट गेट दैट फ्लुएंट इंग्लिश नॉलेज, तो इस वजह से स्टिल देयर इज अ गैप। सपोज आई डोंट नो प्रॉपर इंग्लिश, और वो कॉल सेंटर में मैं कॉल करती हूँ एंड दैट लेडी स्टार्ट स्पीकिंग वेरी फ्लुएंट इंग्लिश, देयर इज अ गैप बिटवीन हर एंड मी। मेरे को थोड़ा सा इन्फीरियर फील होता है कि मेरे को इंग्लिश नहीं आता, आई डोंट नो, आई एम नॉट सो फ्लुएंट, आई कैंट अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट शी इज सेइंग, देन आई रिक्वेस्ट हर टू चेंज हर लैंग्वेज टू हिंदी और उड़िया और एनी वर्नाकुलर, तो हम एम्बेरस फील करते हैं। ओके, सो दिस इज still there, ये psychology is still there, but what I'm trying to say is that as teachers we should try our level best to cut this barrier. Okay, so that everybody gets equal privilege. As teachers we can teach them, okay, whatever time we get with them, especially intermediate में कि junior classes में, we can start teaching them a little bit or rather a lot of communicative English, इतना अच्छा सिखा दें कि उनको फ्यूचर में कोई कोचिंग नहीं लेना पड़े, और सब कोई का लेवल बराबर हो, एज बेस्ट एज पॉसिबल। लेवल, इंटेलेक्चुअल लेवल तो ऊपर नीचे होगा, नॉट दैट, लेकिन वी शुड ट्राई टू गिव एनफ लर्निंग टू देम, सो दैट ये जो बैरियर है ये कम हो जाए, ख़त्म तो नहीं होगा, बैरियर थोड़ा बहुत कम हो जाए। अदरवाइज ये हर किसी के साइकोलॉजी में बहुत बहुत हार्ड होता है। इफ़ यू डोंट नो, कोई इंग्लिश बोल रहा है, यू कैन नॉट स्पीक इट, इट माइट बी रियली फीलिंग वेरी बैड। ओके, so it is the duty of we teachers, English teachers, to address all these issues and to encourage our people, our students to go ahead with the language. उनका पर्सनालिटी भी चेंज होगा, उनका आउटलुक्स चेंज होगा, उनका ओवरऑल वर्ल्ड व्यू विल आल्सो गेट चेंज्ड. ओके. अच्छा, हमको प्रॉब्लम क्या है इसमें, टीचर्स को प्रॉब्लम क्या है? व्हेन वी हैव अ सेट ऑफ स्टूडेंट्स, ठीक है, सपोज यूजी क्लास में 12-16 बच्चे हैं. ओके. And we have to start teaching English. And the basic difficulty, is that our classroom is so diverse, isn't it? क्लासरूम हमारा बहुत डाइवर्स होता है. कोई उड़ीसा से है क्लास में, तो कोई बंगाल से है, तो कोई नॉर्थ से है, नॉर्थ इंडिया से है, कोई हैदराबाद से है. सो इट इज़ सो डिफिकल्ट. ओके, हमको दिखता है सामने क्या ये इतना डिफिकल्ट ग्रुप है, इतना डाइवर्स ग्रुप है. ओके. तो यहाँ पर टीचिंग कैसा होना चाहिए, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर कैसा होना चाहिए, लाइब्रेरी कैसा होना चाहिए, ये बहुत बड़ा इशू हो जाता है, स्पेशली स्मॉल टाउन्स में. ओके. स्मॉल टाउन्स में हर कोई तो हर कोई, हर किसी का हर रीजन को सेटिस्फाई करने वाला बुक नहीं दे पाएगा, प्रोवाइड कर पाएगा. सो दिस बिकम्स वेरी प्रॉब्लमेटिक, स्पेशली फॉर द फर्स्ट जनरल लर्नर्स जो इंग्लिश पढ़ने के लिए आते हैं. फर्स्ट जनरेशन लर्नर माने यूजी फर्स्ट ईयर, अरे बीए फर्स्ट ईयर में उनको ठीक से मे बी इंग्लिश ऑनर्स के लिए एनरोल हुए, ठीक से इंग्लिश नहीं आ रहा है. ओके. उनको लिंग्विस्टिक स्किल्स पॉलिश करना है, नहीं आ रहा है, डिफिकल्टी हो रहा है इंटरेक्शन में. सो दीज आर द बेसिक प्रॉब्लम्स, बिकॉज वी आर अ हेटेरोजेनस कम्युनिटी. डिफरेंट डिफरेंट पीपल आर देयर, इतने डाइवर्स है. कोई एबोरिजिनल बैकग्राउंड से है, ठीक है, तो दे हैव कम्प्लीटली डिफरेंट लाइफस्टाइल, डिफरेंट लैंग्वेज. उसको आके यहाँ पर वो अगर चौसर पढ़ेगा, स्पेंसर पढ़ेगा, वो उसको कितना प्रॉब्लम होगा. और व्हेन टीचर इज फ्लुएंटली टीचिंग ऑल दोज थिंग्स, सो दैट स्टूडेंट माइट फाइंड अ लॉट ऑफ डिफिकल्टी हियर. ओके. तो ऐसे gradually what will happen, these students will go behind in the achievement level. Okay. और ये जब अगर they are trying to prepare, take English for their further professional courses, so these people might find very much difficulty with respect to communication. Okay. लेकिन बाकी जो हैं, जो 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 प्रिविलेज क्लास है, व्हेन दे टेक अप इंग्लिश इट इज़ इजी फॉर देम. तो एक क्लास के अंदर भी क्या हो जाता है, देर आर डिफरेंसेस बिटवीन स्टूडेंट्स. ओके. कोई इंग्लिश आराम से समझ लेता है बिकॉज ही हैज़ कम फ्रॉम इंग्लिश स्कूल्स, लेकिन किसी को डिफिकल्टी होता है, मे बी ही हैज़ कम फ्रॉम सम aboriginal background. Okay, so these are the difficult situations sometimes arising between teachers. Okay, so इन दिस केस इंग्लिश लिटरेचर का सिलेक्शन भी एक प्रॉब्लमेटिक चॉइस हो जाता है बच्चे के लिए. बच्चा क्या हो जाता है, डिसइंटरेस्टेड हो जाता है, इज नॉट एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड, और अपने खुद को डिफरेंस फील करता है. देयर इज एन एलिटिस्ट ग्रुप जो पूरा वेल वर्स्ड इंग्लिश स्कूल से आए हैं, दे अंडरस्टैंड एवरीथिंग, दे स्पीक एवरीथिंग, दे रेस्पॉन्ड टू द टीचर, बट there is a certain group which is not able to respond. So again you can see there is a kind of barrier arising inside the class, within the class. Okay. Slowly this group of student it goes behind, जो ठीक से बात नहीं कर पा रहा है, इंटरेक्ट नहीं कर पा रहा है, डिसइंटरेस्टेड हो रहा है. सो दिस इज प्रॉब्लमेटिक. ओके. सो एनी लिटरेचर व्हेन वी आर टीचिंग, our main objective is to investigate the social and cultural issues. Okay. उसका एज, उसका पॉलिटिक्स, उस लिटरेचर का we need to know. So when what I started telling you is that when we are teaching we have to analyze. Okay. And for this people of different groups जो आ रहे हैं पढ़ने के लिए, they should be honored. Okay. वो दूसरे दूसरे pockets of community से आ रहे हैं, but their issues should be addressed. We should try to decrease the barrier between ourselves and them. Okay, maybe English honors class hai, but it's completely all right if you are using few things to in our own vernacular language. Okay, हमारा जो vernacular language होता है, it helps us to connect. Okay, because that is our language. इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज इज नाउ नॉट आवर, तो कभी कभी हम लोग डिस्कनेक्टेड फील करते हैं अगर टीचर बहुत ज़्यादा इंग्लिश में बोलता है. तो वी शुड ट्राई टू फाइंड अ कॉमन लैंग्वेज इन विच वी कैन इंटरेक्ट एंड ट्राई टू हेल्प एनहांस दैट स्टूडेंट विद द इंग्लिश लर्निंग एबिलिटीज. और उसको पर्सपेक्टिव सिखाना है उस बच्चे को कि व्हेन वी आर रीडिंग इंग्लिश नॉवेल्स एंड लिटरेरी टेक्स्ट, ओके, हाउ वी शुड रीड, उसको क्रिटिकली कैसे करते हैं, उसको उसका कल्चरल बैकग्राउंड कैसे खोजते हैं, दैट वी शुड टीच बाय कनेक्टिंग विथ सम सेम लैंग्वेज, सिमिलर लैंग्वेज. ओके, so actually, it is the prime duty of we teachers to, as best as possible, decrease this highs and lows of English learning. हम लोग चाहने से we can make it a plain area, and we can teach our students that yes, English learning can become an immense it can become a power, it can become a tool through which you can get great power. Okay, so if we teach our students that our country is rich because it is multilingual, इतना सारा language है, so we are rich people. Okay, so don't get so much biased about English language. Learn some perspectives from English language, learn some perspectives from those English people also, but that doesn't mean that our culture is in any way inferior. It is quite rich because we have got so many languages. जो country में इतना language है, इतना culture है, वो poor कैसा होगा? So think yourself richer than any other place, or take English only as a medium of learning. That's all. Okay, whether you are reading novel, play, poem, whatever. Okay, if you are well versed, you will understand it properly. You can speak it properly, and if you do quite well in these areas of literature, then you can win awards also. ठीक है, अरुंधति रॉय और वो जो राइटर्स है, शोभा दे, भारती मुखर्जी, चित्रा बनर्जी, okay, all these are those people who are getting international fame by writing English only. Okay, लेकिन इंग्लिश लिखते हैं ब्रिटिश के जैसा नहीं, दे राइट इंग्लिश लाइक इंडियंस. They write about, like I was reading Chitra Banerjee, she writes cha shop, nahi, char dukan. Okay, because she's a Bengali person, she writes char dukan, means tea shop. In many places, she uses her vernacular. Okay, so that is what is our English. Okay, where we can connect. Sometimes they use the word dhaba for restaurants. So it's completely okay because it is ours. Okay, and internationally also sometimes these kinds of languages are acknowledged. Okay, and as a result we see that our Indian writers are also being honored and they are also being awarded. Okay, so if you see literature, and if you see different languages, okay, try to develop some healthy ideas about these different languages, these different literatures, instead of getting biased कि उसका अच्छा लैंग्वेज है, मेरा लैंग्वेज खराब है, उसका सुनाई इतना सोफिस्टिकेटेड लगता है इंग्लिश में, मेरा लैंग्वेज कितना चीप लगता है. इट इज़ नॉट दैट. This is there in our psychology that we have to take it out. Okay, that we need to avoid all these kinds of feelings. Rather we should learn English in order to again perspectives of different cultures, different places, different locations, number one. Secondly, if you learn more, you can exchange your ideas better. Okay, your ideas can be exchanged in a better way if you read from multiple perspectives from multiple locations. Okay, so uh, okay, now we will see how there are some gendered choices. सब में तो आजकल एक जेंडर का एक स्पेसिफिक पॉइंट आता है यूजुअली व्हेन वी रीड लिटरेचर, दैट gender has also got its different perspectives, different gender. We'll look upon that, and then I'll finish my class today. uh, you know, we have in India, as I told you, we have choices of English studies today. Okay, so these choices also depend on gender choices. Social choice है, cultural choice है, और एक specific choice है, that is gender choices. Gender. Okay. Now what is this? Gender choices. Uh, we see that English particularly, okay, and this might sound funny to you, English departments में तुम लोग देखोगे ज़्यादा ladies हैं. Okay. I'm sorry to the male people here, male person here. Okay, but usually in our English classes we see too many females, too many women usually there. Okay, why? Women get more attracted towards literature. Okay, why? Because women actually जो है होते हैं ना, they are the reservoirs of culture, moral value. Okay, वो लोग एक रिजर्वर होते हैं एक कल्चर के. I can give you a best and the funniest example of this woman as a preserver of culture, because देखो, we women, we represent culture through our dresses also, because most of us wear saris. That is the symbol of our culture. But do male people wear dhotis? No, they wear Western culture dress. So in this way, I can say, I can give one simple example that women are the best reservoirs of culture and heritage. Okay, moral value. तो कल्चर, हेरिटेज, मॉरल वैल्यू, ट्रेडिशन, ये कहाँ से ज़्यादा पता चलता है? लिटरेचर से ही. सो दैट इज़ वाई women feel more attracted towards English literature. Now, this is not the biased idea that I'm giving, it is there in your material. Okay. So, you can find, if you read literature, literature has got some universal and eternal value. Okay. And this very much befits women's sentimentality, women's thoughts. ज़्यादा attracted होते हैं ये सब एरिया में, यूनिवर्सल थॉट्स में, इटर्नल वैल्यूज़ में, कल्चर स्टडी में, मोरालिटी स्टडी में, दे गेट इजीली अट्रैक्टेड. ओके, सो यहाँ पर एक कोलोनियस्ट आर्ग्यूमेंट भी है फ्रॉम लॉर्ड मैकॉले. लॉर्ड मैकॉले भी कुछ बोलते हैं इस एरिया में. जो पहले फर्स्ट क्लास में मैं बोली थी, मैकॉले सेड दैट सिंगल शेल्फ ऑफ अ गुड यूरोपियन लाइब्रेरी was worth the whole native literature of India and Arabia. इंडिया और अरेबिया का सारा लिटरेचर लाके खड़ा कर दो, वो इंग्लिश लाइब्रेरी का एक शेल्फ के बराबर भी नहीं है. इट मीन्स टू से इंडियन और अरबिक लिटरेचर इतना पुअर है कि इंडियन इंग्लिश लिटरेचर के सामने वो स्टैंड भी कर नहीं पाएगा. ओके, दैट इज व्हाट मैकॉले हैज सेड. सो ये क्या सजेस्ट करता है? ये सजेस्ट करता है कि वेस्टर्न लिटरेचर का एक यूनिवर्सल वैल्यू है. ओके, ब्रिटिश वेस्टर्न लिटरेचर का एक एक सच्चाई है, एक ट्रूथ है, जो हर कोई बोलेगा नहीं ये ठीक है, ये बात ठीक है, जस्टिफाइड है, एवरीबॉडी विल अग्री टू दैट. ओके, तो लिटरेचर यहाँ पर ये जो ये these perspectives specially, these are very much being liked by women to talk about, to think about. Okay, कि how one culture overpowers the other, कौन सा ज़्यादा strong है, कौन सा थोड़ा सा weak है. So all these things are a part of specially some kind of gendered interest. Okay, तो मैकॉले उस टाइम में वो थोड़ा सा अपना जो imperialist आइडिया था, इंटेंशन था, वो छुपा दिया था when he was introducing Indian literature in Indian universities. हाँ, वो बताया था कि क्या इंग्लिश स्टडीज जो है इंडिया में ये जस्ट कंटिन्यूएशन है टू मेक पीपल ऑफ इंडिया अवेयर ऑफ हाउ टू बिकम रैशनल. ओके, इंडियन लोग इतने ज़्यादा रैशनल नहीं है, थोड़ा सा बारबेरियंस टाइप है, तो इंग्लिश स्टडीज़ क्या होगा, उनको रैशनलिटी सिखाएगा, उनको थोड़ा बहुत कल्चर सिखाएगा, हमारा कल्चर अडॉप्ट करेंगे तो मे बी दे विल लर्न अ लिटिल बिट culture through us. Okay, this is what he said was his intention कि इंडिया में कल्चर थोड़ा कम है और थोड़ा कल्चर सिखाने के लिए हम इनको इंग्लिश लिटरेचर सिखाएंगे. दिस was the idea he gave. Okay, hiding his main intention कि English was forced upon us in the name of superior culture. Okay, so एक जो यूनिवर्सल टेक्स्ट के बारे में जो बोला था मैकोले कि ये टेक्स्ट का यूनिवर्सल अपील है, मतलब एवरीबडी विल एग्री टू दिस. सो ये जो यूनिवर्सल अपील है ये जो कोलोनाइज लोगों को एनकरेज करता है. ओके, स्पेशली वुमेन स्टूडेंट्स को एनकरेज करता था उस टाइम में भी. ओके, टू एनरोल फॉर BA और MA in English because they found it is good for them. Okay, and as I told you, they feel that many women, maybe not in this generation, you will get angry if I say that many, it is actually there, may feel that if I get sophisticated subject and if I get sophisticatedly educated, then I may get some elite groom. So ये idea से भी एक time में women basically opted for MA or BA in English. So all these were a little bit of gendered prejudice, but otherwise English literature and its study is important for everybody. Okay, अच्छा. और एक टर्म है द मार्च ऑफ टेली, TELI, टेली. टेली मीन्स टीचिंग ऑफ इंग्लिश लिटरेचर इन इंडिया, दैट इज उसका शॉर्ट फॉर्म है टेली. सो टेली का जो इन्वेजन है इंडिया में कैसे आया, कैसे फ्लोरिश किया, वी हैव एक्चुअली डिस्कस्ड ऑल दीज थिंग्स इन आवर अर्लियर क्लासेस. ठीक है, तो ये जो आइडिया है मार्च ऑफ टेली का, ये क्या है, आई टेल यू. अच्छा, हम लोग का जो इंग्लिश लिटरेचर है इंडिया में इसका एक कोर्स है टेली का, एक प्रॉपरली सेटअप कोर्स है. ठीक है, कब से हम लोग पढ़ते हैं, फ्रॉम द टाइम ऑफ कोलोनियलिज्म टिल द टाइम ऑफ ग्लोबलिज्म. अभी जो ग्लोबलाइजेशन, अभी भी प्रेजेंटली भी जब हम लोग पढ़ते हैं, व्हेन वी एनरोल आवरसेल्व्स इनटू इंग्लिश ऑनर्स कोर्सेस, इनिशियली वी स्टार्ट विथ colonial texts. As I was telling you, पहले चौसर, मिल्टन, द स्पेंसर, ये सब पढ़ते हैं, एंड देन वी गो ओवर टू अदर स्टडीज. तो हम लोग स्टार्ट करते हैं कॉलोनियल स्टडीज से, हम लोग जाते हैं ग्लोबलाइजेशन तक. ओके, so we have a all set up course in this area. So यहाँ पर क्या होता है, ग्रेजुअली हमारा जो टेली है, द टीचिंग ऑफ इंग्लिश लिटरेचर इन इंडिया, वो ग्रेजुअली डेवलप करता है. ओके, तो यहाँ पर एक रिसर्चर है मकरन परांज पे. दिस पर्सन ही हैज ट्रेस्ड वेरियस फेजेस ऑफ इंस्टीट्यूशनलाइजेशन ऑफ इंग्लिश. ओके, इंग्लिश हर फेज में कैसे इंस्टीट्यूशनलाइज हुआ और कैसे पढ़ाया जाता है हमारे यूनिवर्सिटीज़ में, ही गिव्स अ elaborate idea. So he says that historically टेली है जो है वो 4 फेज से गुजर चुका है टेली. ओके, फर्स्ट है कोलोनियलिज्म, सेकेंड है नेशनलिज्म, थर्ड है इंडिपेंडेंस, फोर्थ है पोस्ट कोलोनियलिज्म और द न्यू कोलोनियलिज्म. तो कोलोनियलिज्म मतलब वो टाइम में जब कॉलोनियल रूल था, तब टेली क्या था, टेली तो बहुत कॉन्ट्रैक्टेड था फॉर्म, जो एक दो इंग्लिश में लिखा गया था टेक्स्ट. नेशनलिज्म में इंग्लिश का रोल क्या था, वी हैव ऑलरेडी डन दैट. टेली का रोल थोड़ा स्क्वीज्ड हो गया था नेशनलिज्म, बिकॉज वी रिजेक्टेड इंग्लिश एज अ साइन ऑफ रिजेक्टिंग इंग्लिश कल्चर. ओके, इंग्लिश रूल को रिजेक्ट करने का साइन था, वी रिजेक्टेड इंग्लिश ऑल्सो. तो नेशनलिज्म में वी स्टार्टेड मोर talking about our languages. However, at that time, many newspapers, journals came in English as a mark of revolt, so that British can also read and understand that this is a piece of revolt, a kind of resistance from our side. वो होता था. लेकिन जो प्योर लिटरेचर was written less at that time as a mark of nationalism. इसके बाद आया इंडिपेंडेंस. एज आई टोल्ड यू, इंडिपेंडेंस के इमीडिएट टाइम में के बाद बहुत ज़्यादा लिटरेचर का स्कोप बढ़ा, एंड दैट गेव वे टू पोस्ट colonialism, post independence period. Okay, that we call neo colonial period phase, जहाँ पर बहुत ज़्यादा एक्सपेंड हुआ. इवन आवर इंडियन राइटिंग इन इंग्लिश, और यू कैन से टेली, it went across our country. Okay, it went into the hands of the foreign lands also. और बहुत लोग फॉरेन कंट्री में वो इंडियन लिटरेचर को मतलब इंडियन लिटरेचर इन इंग्लिश को पढ़ाते भी हैं. ओके, मेनी फॉरेन पीपल they teach our literature also in English. Okay, so gradually you can see how English invaded, English tried to, develop in our country, how it developed, how it formed, how it shaped, and then how it traveled to foreign countries also as a mark of substantial writing in our country in English language. Okay, so usko bola gaya in Indian writing in English. All right. Now that included many translation works also that I was telling you. That was uh, Anglo क्या था वो English writing, Anglophone literature. Okay, that was Anglophone literature when Indian languages were translated into English language. Okay, for the purpose of vast reading. Foreign people, how could they read us? So that is why many of our texts written in originally in our languages were translated into other languages. Best example you can say is Tagore's Gitanjali. Okay. Now, students, I'm up with today's class. Tell me if you have any doubt. So, with this, we have come to an end with the fifth block as well today. Uh, tomorrow we'll be doing sixth block. Am I right? Tell me if you have any problem, please ask.
No, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, but after this class, kindly go through these materials, and you're most welcome if you come up with some doubts, problems. I'll clarify that. Okay. So tomorrow I'll start with the next text. Till then, I'm hanging up. We'll meet tomorrow same time. You may leave. Thank you.
Good night, ma'am.
Good night.
Thank you, ma'am. Good night.
Good night. Thank you, Sudha.